Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Omer. I know planning a trip to Japan can be a bit daunting, and there's so much to see, and you want to see everything, and you want to experience everything. And so I thought I'll make a video about 10 things to think about when planning a trip to Japan for the first time. So, number one, know what kind of traveler you are. Obviously, you're gonna see all the classic sightseeing and go everywhere that you must go on a trip to Japan, but you gotta know what kind of things you're looking for in a trip. Do you like more nature? Is food a major focus? Do you like quiet neighborhoods or noisy one? Do you like to go off the beaten path or do all the classics? It's very important when you're planning a trip to know what you want to do, so that when you're planning it, you actually feel like you got the most out of that trip. Number two, and this one's the hard one, I know. You gotta be okay with not seeing everything. I know a lot of people, when they're going to Japan, because it's so far away, you feel like you have to see as much as possible. And I get that. I did that. The first time I traveled to Japan, I traveled for 16 days. And it was exhausting. I did so much in those 16 days that it was just too much. And I ended up being very tired at the end, and I just didn't have any energy anymore. And it's annoying because you want to see, and there's so much to see. And especially when you watch all those YouTubers that live in Japan, and so they have all the time in the world to go to all these amazing places, and you only have this short amount of time. So make the most of it by planning ahead, but don't be too hard on yourself when making the plan. Remember that part of the thing when you're going to cities, when you're doing a city kind of trip, is experiencing the neighborhoods. So give yourself time to breathe and to walk leisurely around. Don't stress yourself out. So yeah, I know it's hard. Definitely can relate. Even now, I'm planning a trip in March with my mom, and it's her first time, and I'm holding myself back from adding more and more stuff because there's so much I want her to see, but there's just no time. So you gotta be okay with saving some stuff for the next time you're going to Japan. I promise. Japan's not going anywhere. You'll be able to visit it again, hopefully. So yeah, I know this one's a hard one. Number three is the JRPass. I'm sure that if you've already started planning your trip to Japan, you've already encountered it. Maybe you watched some videos, maybe you read up online about it. Basically, the JRPass is a ticket that allows you to use JR company trains, including the Shinkansen, for 7 or 14 or 21 days, unlimited. It doesn't include the fastest Shinkansen, but that's not really an issue. So you can use it and use those trains unlimited. And the question is it worth it? And the answer is maybe. Basically, you gotta do the math. You gotta check and see whether that ticket is worth it for your trip. I can tell you that on out of the 4 trips that I've done to Japan, on 3 trips I've bought the JRPass, and I definitely made it worth it. But I think for most people, it's not necessarily worth it. So you gotta do the math. You gotta take all the calculations into consideration. You should note that in the Osaka and Kyoto area, you hardly use JR company trains, but in Tokyo, the Yamanote line is a circular train line that goes all around Tokyo. And it's very often used by tourists because you use it to get almost everywhere. So in Tokyo, you definitely use JR trains. Again, the Shinkansen is included in that. So do the math and see whether it fits your trip. I will do a separate video on the JRPass as well. And I know there are a lot of videos already online. I will talk about how I made it worth my time, but why I don't think it's necessarily worth for everyone. So do the math. And speaking of doing the math, let's go to number 4, which is budget. Know your budget. Plan ahead. And there's definitely a way to travel Japan in a very luxurious way. And there's a way to travel Japan in a very budget-friendly way. You can, instead of taking the Shinkansen, for example, take a night bus. You can eat in the convenience store or konbini, which are like 7-Eleven and Lawson and Family Mart. You can stay in capsule hotels or dorms, not in the loudest of neighborhoods. So instead of staying in Shibuya, if you stay in Asakusa, it's much, much cheaper. So there are definitely ways to make a trip budget friendly. And if you're backpacking, there's an option for you. You don't have to not go to Japan because you're afraid of the budget. So do your math, decide for you if it works for you and what works for you. But know that there are options, that you can eat very cheaply, you can travel pretty cheaply, and you can sleep not in a not that expensive way. The capsule hotels are great. They're fine. You might think they might be a bit claustrophobic. Like, I've done both 4-star, 5-star hotels in Japan and capsule hotels. I like to try everything. So you might think they're a bit claustrophobic. Some of them a bit are. Some are more comfortable, but they have amazing amenities. The showers are great. Everything is super clean. You get lots of little toiletries and everything you need. So consider it, check it out, and plan according to your budget. But so yeah. So speaking of spending, number 5 is currency. So I don't know if you already noticed, Japan is a very cash forward country. They are lesser now, because of the pandemic. They are starting to go towards credit cards, but still, in most restaurants, you need cash. If you want to save a seat somewhere, like in one of the Michelin star restaurants or something, you need 1,000 yen deposit. A lot of places still only accept cash. So plan ahead. Make sure you have some yen on you. Never be without yen. Very important. So yeah, bring cash. Somewhere on that venue, we get to number 6 might be a bit surprising, and it's to bring your passport everywhere. Now, usually when I travel, I put my passport in the safe in the room in the hotel I'm staying at. But in Japan, if you take your passport with you, a lot of time when you go shopping, whether it's Don Quixote or it's Uniqlo, you can get the tax refund already at the store if you have your passport with you. So instead of doing it at the airport and standing in line, you can already get the money in the store itself if you have the passport with you. So take your passport. It's super important. It will help you a lot, and it will save you time and money. So yeah, so do that. Number 7 is food. And what I mean by food is, well, Japan has phenomenal food, and most restaurants are excellent. If you have special dietary needs, like vegetarian, vegan, you need something gluten-free, that's a challenge. And you're going to have a challenge finding places that fit those dietary needs. The reason for that is that most Japanese food have either soy sauce or they have dashi broth in them. And dashi is more often than not fish-based. So it's not just something that they can take out. It's an integral part of the dish, and if you can't eat that, then you're gonna have a hard time. They won't be able to just accommodate your needs. So you gotta plan ahead. You gotta look online. There are websites, there are vlogs that have lists of restaurants and dishes that you can order and eat, and that will fit your dietary need. But you gotta plan ahead. You can be spontaneous about it. The restaurants will not be able to accommodate you, and even in a lot of places, if you say you're vegan or vegetarian, they might not even think that the dashi has fish in it. So they just won't be able to accommodate you. So plan ahead. Unless a dish says that it's vegan, it's not vegan. Even if all you see is vegetables. Okay? So plan ahead. So yeah. Number 8, language. I know language barrier might seem scary when thinking about traveling to Japan, but Japanese people know English. The signs are in English. That being said, make sure you have something like Google Translate downloaded on your phone or any other translating app. It will be helpful because sometimes you gotta ask people for help, and though they do know English, sometimes they don't stop to help you. When they do stop, they're super helpful, and gesturing works great usually, and pointing at a map works great. So It's not that much of an issue, and you'll be able to travel Japan just fine. I will post a video with some helpful words that are good to know when traveling and that they helped a lot. They definitely helped me. But it's not an issue. Don't be afraid of the language barrier. You won't really feel it that much. And in bars, it's you can figure it out. It's fun. Yeah, if you go to an izakaya and everyone around you is Japanese, I assure you, you'll be fine. You can talk to the other people that are eating in the restaurant and meet new people and have fun. They know English, so don't worry. Okay? So we're almost done. Number 9, learn the culture's do's and don'ts. When you're traveling to Japan, you need to fit Japan. It's not Japan or Japanese people that need to fit you. So it's very important to show respect to the culture that you're visiting and learn the do's and don'ts. Obviously, each country does things a bit differently, so you gotta learn where you're allowed to smoke, how to eat, what to do on the train, what not to do, how that you're not supposed to walk and eat at the same time, to not be loud on the train. All these things, please, there are lists everywhere, and I can do a video as well. Just learn some basic cultures, do's and don'ts, so you show respect to the country that you're visiting. So yeah. Number 10, I know it's kind of obvious, I'll say it anyway. Don't just stick to sushi and ramen, even though they are amazing. Japanese food has so much to offer. There's so much variety of different, like the list of food that I have to eat in Japan is so long. It's longer than the days I have to travel. So there are so many different things, different different foods to try in the marketplaces, food stalls, street food. There's so much. So please give it attention and don't just stick to what you know. Osaka specifically is known as the kitchen of Japan and is also known as the city where you eat until you drop, because they have so much unique street food that originated in Osaka. And so trying it and eating it in Osaka is extra special. Takoyaki, I promise you, doesn't taste anywhere else as good as it tastes in Osaka. So make sure to try new things and maybe things you weren't expecting. So yeah, that's basically my 10 tips. I hope they help. If you have any other tips, please comment them below. If there are videos that you want to watch, comment that below as well. If you like this video, please click the notification bell, subscribe, like, you know what to do. And if you're planning a trip to Japan, check out the Patreon. There might be something there that might interest you. Obviously, don't feel obligated or anything, but check it out. I hope this helps.